Del Rio, Texas, Rob Wade and Robert Garza. Two guys who dive. Keep us posted because we can't tell if anything's
All right. Well, anyway, we're gonna push forward.
Right.
So, big debate whether or not that cheerleading is actually a sport. Well, I'm here to tell you, folks. From what I saw this morning, it is a very competitive.
It's at least competitive, right?
Very, very competitive. Some of the girls they looked like they were gonna pass out. They were so nervous. They had to go up there and do their audition I'd call it. They had a dance, and they had some routines that they had to kind of execute in front of judges from out of town to, kind of make it fair, a fair playing field. They got judges from out of town, so there'd be nothing going on about, well, they picked her because she knows this person and that person.
Which you would think that at this point for a cheerleading competition for high school, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was high school.
Well, these were tryouts. It wasn't actually a competition. It was tryouts for next year's cheerleaders.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. So they were vying for one of the
one of 25. Yeah.
That's actually a pretty good sized cheerleading team.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for those who might be wondering, why some people would debate over this being a sport. In your typical routines, I'd probably say it isn't. But if you've ever watched like on ESPN or some of the other channels that show the national cheerleading competition where they actually have guys and girls involved in it, they're doing a lot of acrobatic stuff. I would put it, even though it doesn't necessarily interest me, I would say that the type of physical prowess and concentration that it takes to pull off some of the stuff that they do for the cheerleading competitions is at least as challenging as Olympic type, gymnastics, that kind of thing. I mean, it's tough. People get hurt or killed doing this stuff.
Well, like I said, they just seeing their reactions and everything like that. I'd never been to one, and I was really taken back because of the amount of intensity that's involved.
Now, are you talking about for the actual activity, or the tryouts, or for the people surrounding the event?
No, I'm talking about the contestants, the girls that are getting ready to perform.
Right.
There was they had a hallway out there. They're inside the gymnasium before they went.
Oh, it wasn't outside.
No, it was inside. It was inside the gym.
Okay.
So they had three judges from out of town. And then they had some of the administrative staff from the campus there tallying up all the numbers that the judges kind of came up with. And they were scoring the girls based on their performance. And it's before they actually came into the actual gym. They were in a hallway all lined up. There was 42 contestants
for 25 slots.
Right.
Oh, wow.
So
it was like American Idol.
The tension was so thick. I mean, you could literally like grab it and fold it and put it in your pocket, not cut it with a knife. It was too thick. You couldn't cut it. It was just crazy. Well, anyway, I just got to take my. I just got to do a shout out if anybody who is watching, and where you were there,
You were there
participating in the event. I have to honestly say, I was impressed.
Okay, so I have to ask, you're providing security for this thing, right? So,
well, you know why I was there. It wasn't. I was there because some of the parents tend to get a little.
That's where I was going, because you've seen like the movie based on the real life situation with the Texas cheerleader mom, the Dallas cheerleader.
It's true.
Oh my gosh,
it's true, guys. I'm sorry.
The typical stage mom.
They were not allowed in the building. Usually,
the mothers were not allowed in?
No. No parents were allowed in the building. This was a closed tryout.
I like that.
Yeah, and the reason being is because I believe, from what I was told by the sponsors, that they had a couple of incidents the last time they had it open. Some of the parents were shouting and saying that it was fixed and unfair. So to eliminate that problem, the only people
there were dart guns involved.
There were bullets involved. People.
At least lasers.
Yeah, we joke about this, but people have actually gotten hurt over these type of competitions. That's how serious they are. Wow. The parents were not allowed. So when they posted the actual results on the window, there was a lot of
laughing and shouting and crying and gnashing of teeth and
everything. And I want to speak to the judges and how did you go about scoring this? And I'm sorry, but you can't speak to the judges. You have to. I'm sorry.
So how many of you were pulling security for this?
Just myself.
You were all by yourself.
All by myself.
If they had decided that the enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of situation and all the moms ganged up, wow.
Well,
I need backup.
yeah, I had a friend on
Officer
my... Actually,
down.
I wasn't alone. I had a friend with me. His name is Glock.
I was going to say,
Glock.
had my two best friends with me, Schmidt and Wesson.
Yeah, I had my friend Glock with me, and
He's from Germany, isn't he?
He's actually Australian.
He's
He's from Austria. And,
there's a difference
yeah, he's
between
from
Australia and Austria.
No, he's from Austria.
He's Austrian, yes.
And he packs quite a punch, you know.
Yes,
and,
so I've heard.
so anyway, I just got to say, you know, I was quite impressed by the commitment and the dedication that these girls put in. They put in a lot of time, and you're right, it is very physical. They have to do tumbling routines and all this. A girl got hurt. There was a girl that had laryngitis, and she was literally like spraying and drinking chloroseptic to get her voice just for that moment. There was a girl that had sprung her leg or sprained her leg, her ankle. During the practice or whatever for this event, she went on anyway with a hurt leg.
Wow.
And you know what? She finished it and then limped off the stage and then collapsed right outside.
Standing O.
Well, it wasn't a standing O. She just made it off enough to go past the door, and then she fell down.
Down
and,
she went.
in pain. She was crying, and she made it, though. She made the team.
Wow. That is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Word to the wise, folks. If you need your voice, the worst thing you can do is apply chloroseptic or anything else that attaches itself or otherwise messes with your vocal cords. Chloroseptic actually numbs all of that, so you can't feel when you're doing something damaging to your vocal cords. It makes you feel better, and so you end up pushing past the pain. That's how people on PCP and stuff like that are able to do superhuman things, because they cannot feel the pain that their body is experiencing when they are lifting and throwing cops around.
Right.
So on a much lower scale, chloroseptic does the same kind of thing to your vocal cords. So don't use that stuff if you're trying to sing or speak or whatever. It is bad news. I can't, as a singer, as someone who spent a whole year singing around the world with Tops and Blue, I can tell you it's challenging. You want your instrument to be there. Don't sacrifice it by using some quick fix like that, because it's not a fix. It will hurt you.
Yeah, well, then we started late. Got there at 7:30 this morning, and we were supposed to be out by 12. Well, I ended up leaving there at 3:30. 3:30. 3:30. No, there were no do-overs.
Okay,
Let me tell you, they
good,
had one shot
good.
at it. There was just a lot of girls, and then that was round one. Then round two was for the post-secondary, which was the 7th and 8th grade. They had their tryouts, but there was less girls, and they were just, you know, moving a lot faster with them.
I'm thinking that a friend of mine and former scuba student actually made the cut. If I can find where I thought I saw the post.
Haley?
Yes.
Yeah, she was there. She made it.
Awesome. One of my scuba students. Awesome. Way to go, girl. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah,
That's
Haley.
a talented girl anyway. I mean, she was doing the soccer and all that stuff. And
Yeah,
the volleyball, and she just, golly, she's one of those that would sprain herself and just keep on going.
No, she was perfect. She made it. I always see her at the school anyway, and I always you know, say hi to her and stuff.
That's cool.
I'm actually gonna pull security for an event for her mother.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
Nice.
if you're watching, yes, I'm gonna do it. I'm sorry. You know, the dates are perfect. I believe it was June. 2 days in June, but yeah.
Do you know which 2 days in June?
I believe it's a Thursday and Friday.
Well, okay.
Well, I'd have to look at my calendar.
It's a day during the week. I can tell you that much. Yeah, check your. I was going to say, you better have stuff like that in your smartphone, because I do. Checking, scrolling.
It is actually June 21st and 22nd.
Let's see. I don't think we have class until the following weekend.
So it's a Thursday and Friday.
But
But anyway, Haley, if you're watching, congratulations.
Yes, that's way to go.
Great. I know you know what I'm talking about when you hear this, but it was the girls were like, be quiet and shut up, and it's like, who said that? I did. Okay, no.
Oh yeah. Well, it's interesting because it's a performance art as well as a sport, depending on where you're doing the cheerleading stuff. Which is way off the scuba diving topic, but it's part of your job in this particular case. Mm-hmm. But as an actor,
you act, Robert?
Yes, hard to believe. I know. As an actor, I can tell you that we deal our fair share with the stage moms in the truer sense of that phrase. Where you have the little girl who's they think is a star, and their mother is hovering over them and badgering the director and the costumer and the musical director and the stage manager to take care of their little girl or their little boy. And they can be some of the most rude, nasty people. So we're watching you.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm speechless. I was so tired and just dealing.
I was exhausted just watching you kids.
I literally was. And then they'll probably find this funny. The sponsor misplaced the keys to the whole building.
Dun 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 dun. Where's
she was like going crazy for
the violins
for an hour. Yeah. She was calling everyone. Did you take my keys?
Yeah, you got the keys? Where did I leave them? You got to get one of those little clapper things, and it beeps at you or something. Yeah.
No, but it was a lot of fun. I was exhausted. I was on my feet the whole day, and then,
my wife posted on the chat room. She and her twin sister had a lot of fun at the expense of. Can't remember the name of the gymnast, American gymnast. I think it was that you had the trainer was Bella. And
you're talking about Nadia Comaneci?
No. I think it was an American one, and she had this little pixie voice.
Mary Lou Retton?
I think it was after Mary Lou Retton. I could be wrong, but she'll do this every once in a while. She'll just be do something funny, and she'll go, "Thanks, Bella," because that's how she sounded when she'd be within earshot of a mic, and she I think when she helped her, when she hurt herself, and then Bella's like picking her up.
Oh yeah.
Picked her up and carried her off.
I know who you're talking about.
Thanks, Bella. It's just a little pixie.
I know who you're talking about. I can't remember her name, but she hurt herself and she pushed on, and
yeah.
God, I can't remember her name.
Oh well.
Well, anyway,
so
yeah.
So that's
good
cool.
job, guys.
Well, so that was an exciting week for you.
Yeah,
awesome.
It was.
Well, let's see. Let's hit a few of our show notes here. Wanted to share with folks what the current conditions are out at Lake Amistade. Of course, the lake is just
rocky.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was windy right now too. Hideously low. But what that has done is helped the visibility. Believe it or not, you'd think as the water level drops that there would be more silt collected in a smaller area, but it actually has been pretty decent conditions. Last time I went diving out there was last weekend. Let's see, visibility is about 15 feet, which is good. Temperatures at depth about 65. So I was wearing a 5mm full, no hood or gloves, but definitely the boots. I was okay. Although once you push down to close to 100 feet, that the thickness of the wetsuit, of course, compresses, and it wasn't quite as comfortable as I would have liked. So I would have liked to have had the 7mm at that point. And also, because the lake is down so far, had to move the buoy that was moored at the dive chest, because we were of course we were using that for training, for the training, because you can do the controlled emergency swimming ascent and do the diving on a guideline, those exercises, that type of thing, and it's just a good marker to start your navigation practice. But unfortunately, Tara jumped in. The girl's name was Carrie Strug.
Carrie Strug.
Carrie Strug.
Thanks, Bella.
Thank you. Thank you, Tara.
So we had to move that because the water was only 13 feet. It was only 13 feet at the dive chest. So I actually moved it. Jeff Larson, who works for the Park Service, was going to come out, and we were going to actually try to do the lift bag thing and move the dive chest further out to get some depth on it.
Right.
Well, the bag he brought, unfortunately, had a rip in the seam, so we couldn't fill it up with air to actually lift the dive chest. So I thought, okay, well, let me see how deep the small boat is. And sure enough, it's at 28 feet at the higher end. Of course, it's at a slant. But so
that's the small boat?
It's the small boat,
oh,
small
okay.
sunken boat. So I went ahead and untied the buoy from the dive chest and took it over to the small boat, which isn't that big a swim anyway, from there. So that worked out nicely for finishing out the class. So unless the lake comes back up, we'll probably leave it there.
Just to get an idea, folks, the dive chest used to be at 35 feet.
Yeah.
So
which was perfect, but oh man, to have the lake that shallow was just incredibly insane. Let's see. Also, wanted to throw. I mentioned these at the different episodes, but I figured I'd throw a little graphic up for our dive trips and some training. So we have. We're going to Balmorhea State Park. If it's open, I need to probably jump onto the website here to see if they've. Of course, they probably don't update their website. If they're a typical government entity, they don't update their website. But I'll probably jump out there to see if it's open yet. It's been closed. Balmorhea State Park, the pool there has been closed because of something in the water that some swimmers say caused a rash or irritation. So they were trying to find out what was going on.
the amoebas.
Amoebas. The lacrimose leeches. Why? Why didn't I wait longer before I got in the water? Love Lemony Snicket. So anyway, Balmorhea State Park trips we have scheduled for 15 and 16 June, 13 and 14 July, and 17 and 18 August. And then, of course, for those who are interested in signing up for a basic open water class, have those scheduled. Already have one going on for this month. Have somebody sign up for that. But unfortunately, it's too late to get signed up at this point because I wouldn't be able to get you your student materials in time. So the next one you'd be available for would be 28 June, 1st of July, 26th through the 29th of July, or 23rd through the 26th of August. Now, those aren't exhaustive, but and I'll probably have some in September, October. I usually do. If the demand is there, and also, as always, if you're interested in an advanced course or private course, private class, you can contact me as well, and I'll be happy to set that up for you. And if I recall correctly, jump over to our Dive Club Facebook page, which we encourage everybody to visit to catch up the latest information. I believe one of our divers posted something, if I can find it. Well, here we go. From Trish Urban. Let's see. We've got a couple of folks that are planning a dive out at the springs at Independence Creek Preserve in June. They're inviting all divers to join them for an exciting day at this beautiful oasis. They'll depart from Fisherman's Headquarters at 8 a.m. on June 9th. And then the drive takes about 2.5 hours from Del Rio, Texas. Head west on 90, then turn north to Dryden. Let's see. And they've got some pictures and video and stuff like that. It is a beautiful place. It's shallow. It's kind of like Balmorhea, not quite as fully developed as Balmorhea is as far as a park, but same kind of situation. Natural bottom. They have concrete walkways and everything. So
And it's 2 hours away?
2.5 hours. So
Wow.
that's June 9th, the weekend of June 9th. So by all means, jump onto our Facebook page and check out the the information on that. Definitely like to see as many people sign up for stuff like that as possible. Because remember what we always say, a C card means you can dive, but diving makes you a diver.
That's right, Haley. You need to get back in the water.
Yeah, no kidding. It's been a while since she's been in the water. Oh, speaking of been a while since people have been in the water, I got a phone call from the father of some students that I had, I think it was last year. The Bautistas, it was that whole family, two boys, two girls.
Yeah.
Did the whole family, and so now it's like the Von Trapp family divers,
Cool.
So they're all coming from parts unknown. They've been doing the college thing and everything, and they're all coming in the 2nd of June. So we'll be, they're trying to line up a dive. I guess they have a trip schedule, but they want to do like a family dive kind of thing, just kind of refresh their skills. So
I work with, I see the mom. I see her mom or their moms. They're at the high school, and I remember asking her, hey, do you dive or whatever? And she's like, it's been a while.
Yeah.
She goes, it's been a while. I used to dive, but I haven't had to dive in some time. So I was like, well, you just got to get back in there.
That's right. No time like the present.
That's right.
The water's warming up. The weather's warming up. Good
Visibility's good.
Yep. At least for now.
Yeah.
So anyway, 2nd of June is really busy. I also have been working with a woman, Linda, who has got, she's kind of like a activity coordinator. And she's got 6+ people interested in doing a Discover Scuba thing.
Nice.
So that's also scheduled for the 2nd. She's actually she's doing the legwork as far as setting it up with, as far as the pool. So she's working with the Ramada. And I said, well, that's good because we have done Discover Scuba there at the Ramada Inn. So she's trying to put that all together. And so that's on the 2nd. So I told the Bautistas, I said, let's find out what time all this is going to happen for the Discover Scuba, and if they're flexible, then we could do their dive either before or after Discover.
Right.
So 2nd of June is going to be quite a dive day. I'm going to get seriously
tan.
Well, I'll have the mark because I wear my do-rag, so I'll have no tan from here on up, and then the face thing, how that goes. So that covers the Balmoral trips and the dive classes.
Now, is there a pill you can take to, save
what?
Is there a pill you can take to, just swallow it and be okay from that rash thing?
What? It's not that kind of a rash.
Okay, my bad.
It's the sun. The sun. Speaking of which, I've noticed in the science pages online that we got a lot of sunspot activity going on.
Yeah.
So that obviously that wreaks havoc with electronics, etc. But if you're underwater, it's no big deal. So it's all the more important to dive as frequently as possible, especially right about now. Put as many layers between you and the sun as possible.
I don't know. I know that, going back, I know there was a big thing about, skin cancer and the sun and the way things are now. So,
right.
You really got to cover the skin, guys.
But again, from the science section, did you see where some new studies?
It's a simple question.
well, it's not rocket science, certainly. So, I was reading that now there is a couple studies that seem to indicate that the active ingredient in most of your high SPF protection sunscreens actually causes cancer because supposedly that stuff actually is chemically reactive to direct sunlight. So while it does, it's being an active ingredient, it engages actively the sun to try and prevent the UV rays. The very interaction that it has with the sun makes it chemically change so that the chemical itself
is burning you.
It's not burning you, but it seems to be causing It's still preliminary, but they're saying, okay, we're not telling you not to use it. We're just saying we may have to look a little further at this because it seems indicating that
there's a small problem.
It's like Houston, we have a problem that you're darned if you do and you're darned if you don't. You apply and protect yourself from UV damage, but then you get skin cancer or some other kind of cancer from the chemical reaction.
It sounds like it's going to come down to a matter of numbers. Okay, well, you run a risk of, if you don't use it, you got to probably...
How much time can I spend in the sun?
You got a 49% chance of getting skin cancer, but if you use this product, you probably got a 48 point,
right. Unless, of course, your skin is of this color and tone and you have freckles. If you do, in which case these numbers now switch to,
and if you don't have freckles and you get freckles, then we got a problem.
That's right. Just like I said, it's just you're born dying. So just do everything in moderation and you'll be okay. It's all there is to it. All right. Well, here we are, almost 30 minutes past the hour. Why don't we... I had this shifted for a little bit later, but because this next conversation is probably going to get a little bit long. Well, why don't we go... This is my week It's my week for the commercial.
For an ad.
For an ad. So I'm going to do an ad for Divers Alert Network. I am a fan of this organization.
I'm a fan of Dan.
A fan of Dan. I'm a Dan fan. Boy, that could get really bad. But Divers Alert Network is a nonprofit organization that does a lot of work studying dive medicine, dive physiology, the technical aspects of diving. They are probably the best source worldwide for getting new information about how pressure affects your body. They do a number of different types of studies that involve huge numbers of people, so they become statistically valid. They will often, if you join Dan, and you don't have to actually join as a member, you could join as an affiliate type of thing, where you could volunteer to participate in some of these studies, saying, okay, well, we want to, if you do a lot of trips out of the country or just fly to places to dive, and you do a lot of repetitive diving, they do those kinds of studies, and they'll have you log a lot of detailed information about how many dives a day you did, what was the distance that you flew, how many days between flights did you have, so they can understand more and more about the science of diving. Because the results of these studies are how they can show, they can improve the equipment, help manufacturers improve equipment, how they can improve the many agencies out there that do the dive training. So, but then not only do they do the studies and training, which you can go to their website and actually download or view their studies, which are amazing. But also, you can also look at, let's see, commercial. There we go. A number of things that they have in their store which are beneficial for divers or instructors or dive masters. We just see a few of the examples here on the screen. They have a number of different sizes of their O2 kits, which you see in the upper left side there, the green Pelican case. Of course, as an instructor, I always have one at the ready for in case there is an accident. You can also buy, and typically in the yellow Pelican case, they have a full trauma kit, which is pretty awesome. And then they also have different sizes, different combinations of just general first aid kits. So, these aren't necessarily just for divers, but obviously they cater to divers. And then they have a number of books, manuals, how-tos, and then just various Dan paraphernalia. So you see some of the things that they have there. Water bottles, T-shirts. They have a CPR mask, those kinds of things. So you can get a number of different items that are more or less useful to you or just are good stocking stuffers for those who have a diver in their life and want to share. So
Hint, hint.
hint, hint. That's right. You can always get me dive stuff. I love the dive stuff. So check them out at diversalertnetwork.org and see what they're all about. They also have dive insurance. So you can, by signing up with them and by a small annual fee, you can avail yourself of their 24/7, 365 on-call service. They can help you or anybody that's helping you get in touch with recompression chambers if you have an accident, a number of things like that, as well as just general dive insurance. If you have an accident that cuts short your dive, you can get some of your money back from those kinds of things. So there's a number of different options that you can take advantage of. So Divers Alert Network, I highly recommend them. Check them out, diversalertnetwork.org. So that's my commercial for this week.
Outstanding.
Yeah. Are you a member, by the way?
I sure am, actually.
Awesome.
I am. I've been a member since I got my rescue diver.
Ta-da! Good job.
Yeah, I talk about the rescue diver training sometimes in some of the other episodes as being one of the quintessential trainings that you got to get eventually.
Yes.
It builds up on your skill sets, makes you a much more comfortable person in the water.
Right.
You just get really familiar. The training class itself, the course, when you go through it, really challenges you, your skills, and everything. You start doing things with your gear that you didn't know that you could do or that it did, and just everything. I highly recommend the course. I've said this before, but when I went through the class afterwards, I went ahead and signed up, with Dan, and I do have the insurance. I can't remember what it is. I know it's under $100.
Yeah. They have different different rates.
Yeah, they have different rates, and I think the lowest one, it'll insure you for $10,000 and something like that. But and it is relatively inexpensive. I mean, you can go all out and get
right.
the
so
luxury package, but it is worth it because you get little things in the mail, first aid kit, manuals, and
right.
Little updates, and you also get a magazine with you. It's I can't remember what it's
Alert Diver.
Yeah, Alert Diver. There you go. And there's a lot of information on there regarding, like Rob said earlier, medicine things, like just everything,
and dive accidents and what caused them, those kinds of things.
What you can do to try to prevent them. So they're really 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 in tune with everything that's going on,
right,
regarding dive incidents and whatnot.
Yep. Good stuff. Definitely recommend it.
Yep.
Okay, so now we come to the next topic for discussion. Like I said before, we don't always necessarily talk about just diving. As you jumped in to the episode and we were having some audio difficulties, you probably missed the first of the conversation. We were talking about Scubabob's little experience pulling security for a cheerleading audition for the local high school here. So, we talk about a number of things that we get involved with or that we're passionate about. And one of the things that we're passionate about is technology, smartphones, computers, that kind of thing. And for those who catch us on Facebook, you will see that we like to go back and forth. And I've noticed that one of my comrades, my fellow Nokia Lumia 900 owners, has been kind of bantering back and forth with you too.
I'm not gonna even say anything, but it's kind of funny. He actually posted a link to a video that I know is strictly 100% propaganda.
And that's what he said you posted back, that it was in fact propaganda.
It was internet propaganda.
What's interesting, what he's referring to is on a number of the websites, either smartphone websites or definitely the ones who typically favor Windows Phone type devices, had posted an actual screenshot or a video where evidently somebody had asked Siri, which is of course on iPhone 4S, what the best smartphone was, and it responded with the Lumia 900. Now, of course, this is like anytime these kinds of like Siri or Ask Ziggy, which happens to be on the Windows Phone machines or available for the Windows Mode machines. Anytime you use those, they're doing basically a search. And so they're taking a snapshot in time. And so whatever they answer may be of that moment the number one hit. Okay. So it just so happened that this person hit at a peak moment for the Lumia 900, which is selling very well. I mean, they keep running out of stock. They keep bumping up their, they're kind of timid at first. They didn't put a lot of them out. They sold out quickly. Said, okay, well, let's jump that up a little bit. So they did, and then they ran out again. So I said, okay, well, let's put more out there. So they keep, 2 steps forward, 1 step back kind of thing. So it is selling really well, and they're expanding across the world now to sell this device. But I think what happened was whoever this person was that had used Siri to ask what the best smartphone was happened to hit at a time when a lot of hits were going on in the 900. So, because there's no way that the 900 sells as fast as the iPhone. But it was interesting to see, and that kind of created a nice laugh for folks. Yeah. But what was interesting is if you turn around and grab a Lumia 900 and ask what the best smartphone is, it comes back with the iPhone 4S. Yeah. So it's like they're like pointing it at each other.
They're complimenting each other. That's what it is.
Now what I would probably argue that just tells me that the search features on the Windows Phone are much more true than the search features on the iPhone, because it's getting rid of the outliers.
It's the sun flares. It's called
right, solar flare.
It's the solo flares.
Okay, so that brings me to the point of bringing up the smartphone.
Okay.
I watch a number of podcasts, mostly a lot of them from
John C. Dvorak.
Well, a number of them from the Dvorak.
Dork.
A number of them from the Twit network, This Week in Tech, which is a Leo Laporte conglomerate of podcasts, and I love his style, love his setup.
Louis L'Amour?
Not Louis L'Amour. Leo Laporte.
Oh, okay.
I want to be him when I grow up, except he's a little bit too liberal for me. But in the tech world, he is very, very well respected, and he's known a number of and is friends with a number of movers and shakers in the tech world and the blog world, and so he has a number of them on one of his weekly podcasts, Twit, This Week in Tech. One of his more frequent guests is John C. Dvorak, who, for those who are long-time tech heads, probably remember him from the PC Magazine days, because he was a very frequent writer for that magazine. Now he has a number of his own podcasts, etc. He's a snarky old man at this point, okay? So I take anything that he says with a grain of salt. He's just one of those. He's the guy. He's the guy. He's the guy who you would most likely expect to be sitting on a front porch yelling at kids as they run across his lawn. You kids, get out of my lawn! Hey, I'm going to shoot you next time. I mean, he's that guy. Okay, so he hates the world unless it's something he actually believes in, and so I tend to just tolerate his presence on those shows, because he does have some good points every so often, but he just blew all credibility with me on one of the most recent episodes or podcasts of This Week in Tech. I'll quote: He was in a debate over Nokia's choice to marry up with Microsoft for the Windows Phone, because the discussion all started with Nokia was crashing and burning because
right.
they stayed.
I actually
too long.
tweeted that.
Huh?
I actually tweeted that. Did you
What?
see that when I tweeted that?
I guess I didn't see that.
Okay, yeah. That apparently Nokia signed a death warrant unless they dump Windows phones.
Oh well, there was some people who filed a frivolous lawsuit saying we're going to sue you. We're suing you if you don't get rid of.
Yeah, because
Microsoft."
in other words,
Well,
they
it's
were
because they lost jobs. That's what it is. Is there were a lot of people who were writing for Symbian stuff, which was the operating system their feature phones use. And so you had some disgruntled employees doing a class action lawsuit because they lost their jobs. We don't need you writing Symbian stuff.
In other words, there was an article that I tweeted about that said that Nokia was actually on the verge of actually going under, unless they were on the verge of possibly going under unless they dumped the Windows Phone 7 devices.
Which is just one blogger's opinion.
There was quite a few of those bloggers, though, but we won't get into that.
Meanwhile, there are just as many that are saying this was the only thing that they could do, because if they jumped in the Android market, they would have just disappeared.
They would have disappeared with all the other devices.
And they obviously can't build an iPhone.
Right.
So they really had no choice other than to try to struggle with that MeeGo operating system that they put exactly one phone out with.
But the device itself, Rob has one. They are really stylish. They're very unique, different.
They're definitely solid.
Yeah, different from the phones that Nokia normally pushes out. Back in the day, I remember it was in the early '90s when I had a Nokia phone, and the one of the very first cell phones.
It was a brick phone.
It was a brick. It was, but you know what? It had awesome reception. It was great.
Yep.
Very, very well constructed.
Yeah.
And they cut no corners with the phone that Rob has either, the new Nokia 900. It is a solid phone. I think they could put out a lot more colors because of the case design. It's not
definitely.
like the iPhone that's made out of, it's got,
right.
Aluminum casing. So
Right.
you're limited to what you can do really with it. But on these phones, you can really go crazy with the color patterns on them. And I think they would probably get a little more.
I think you're right.
Especially if they had purple.
Man, I would trade my cyan one in for a purple one.
Yeah, purple's a favorite color.
That's awesome.
But it's just mere coincidence that if you look at the flash screen at the bottom, it is purple.
Absolutely. That is not a coincidence.
But a lot of people were actually posting that, and I tweeted that, just to stab at.
Of course, always.
Throw a little poke at Rob.
Good-natured fun.
Yeah, it is. And Troy, I know if you're listening, or I know you're here somewhere.
You're
probably listening to me.
He might be in the house.
Yeah, I think it's fun. I think it's just great. I love that.
Yeah.
I open up my phone and I check to see what it is, and then Troy kind of jumped in on that too. So I thought that was great.
So anyway, John C. Dvorak was in this debate with one of the other panel members, Lance Ulanoff, who he likes the Windows Phone, and he was definitely talking about the benefits. He also said, here's some downsides to it, but he talks about a number of devices. So he's kind of like me in so much that he's willing to say this device has certain strengths and this has certain strengths, and it really, as we've said before, it really comes down to what do you want it to do. Mm-hmm. So he was willing to give it a break. And so he was really he was playing the advocate. And he was talking about, he thought that Nokia felt that both Nokia and Microsoft have the time and the money at this point to ride this out. It still might fail. What? What are you doing?
I got a text saying Rudy's drink, really? So somebody's watching me. So yes, I'm thirsty.
Well, for those who are watching, jump in the chat room. We'd love to
jump in the chat room.
Yeah,
stop texting.
Don't just watch the show. Don't be a lurker. Participate. This is an interactive show. So anyway, the point that Lance was trying to make was that he felt that they could make this a long run, and it would depend a lot on how well they could really keep advertising at the pace that they're doing, because the Lumia is doing really well. They've hit the right combination of things, but they definitely have to make sure they need to get that Windows 8 phone out pretty quick.
The phones are moving like hotcakes. I mean, they're selling 2 a month. So I mean, they're moving fast.
Smack you. Another one of my friends bought one, white one. Got the white one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I ran into somebody this week at work who said, "Yeah, I bought my mother one of the cyan ones. Absolutely love it."
Nice.
So they're decent phones. But anyway, back to the debate. So John C. Dvorak just immediately jumped on. He's like, "No, I disagree. I don't agree with that at all." Quote, he said, I think that Microsoft's operating system is terrible. Have you ever tried to move a file off of it? You got to take and download Zune software to do it. It's a Zune phone. You can't move files on and off it. It's extremely clunky. I take pictures. I take photos. Who doesn't take photos with their phone? Do I have to go through Zune to move a photo off of it? Why don't I just plug the thing straight into the computer, look at it as a file, and move it off? Is that so hard? Well, you know what? At that point, I was incensed watching this podcast. If I could have come through the screen and ripped John C. Dvorak's throat out, I would have. Dude, you lost completely any credibility you have with me. You claim to have used the device for 3 months daily, and you haven't figured out the cloud. You love your Android phone, and yes, the Android phone is open source, and you can treats all the hardware as if just like the old Windows Mobile PDAs did, which there were certain aspects I liked about those and certain ones that I didn't, which is why I stopped using them. But if you're that ignorant that you cannot understand the simple concept of grabbing the files as they are pictures, you can set it up to where it immediately goes to the cloud. You can access it anywhere. That's where things are going, dude. Get off of your Amiga and start learning how to use the cloud. It's people like that absolutely refuse to move forward into where the technology is going because they're stuck on their piece of hardware. You know, I've said all along there were certain things that they hadn't done what they needed to do with the Windows Phone operating system. They're slowly doing that. They're integrating it. And I said my nirvana is that the Windows desktop would be as ubiquitous as the Windows tablet and the Windows Phone, and I could just move seamlessly between them. And John C. Dvorak just doesn't get it. And if he's that ignorant, he couldn't figure out simple file movement on this phone. I don't know how he handles the Android because that thing is just nothing but chaos comparatively. And believe me, I used to use the Windows Mobile, and it was very much like Android is. Very much like it.
I can only imagine how you were watching that. I bet you were like just jumping
I was
out
incensed. I'm like, you idiot.
Jumping out of your seat on that. Well, you know, for those of you that are watching
it's
this.
not rocket science.
It's not rocket science. It's a simple question.
It's a simple question. Just answer. Just say yes and we'll move on.
Just say yes and move on because
he's a vampire. Just he's outrageous and size.
Yeah. You know. So yeah, like Robert said earlier in the before we got started, the show is we talk about diving, but we talk about other aspects of things. You know, we talk about anything and everything. So but really, if you really, what did it say?
My wife, she's a kidder. She says, I like the cloud, very white and fluffy. I love you.
It is white and fluffy. You know, I have the iCloud set up on my phone,
right.
So
which is awesome. It's a great implementation.
I have some things going to the cloud and some things I don't. I know a lot of people will upload all their photos and music and everything else to the cloud. The only thing that I kind of like about it is that when I buy music through iTunes, it automatically I send that to the cloud. So now music that I've already had on my laptop that I transfer over, I haven't moved all of that to the cloud. You know, I just kind of leave that alone. But
now, how much storage are they up to right now that's free?
5 gigs.
Okay. See, I have to admit, while I love how, from the purchase standpoint, it's easy to do that, they need to add more storage. You get well, now if you sign up for the SkyDrive, you get 7 gigs free. But if you already had service, if you already were using the SkyDrive, you got to keep your 25 gig free.
Wow.
Yeah.
They have to where you can buy more. Of course, they have 10, 20, but it's at a cost, and it's a yearly cost.
Which isn't much, really. It's not expensive.
The most I think is 25 gigs, and it's $100.
Wait a minute. I thought I saw a chart. I probably should have brought that up. I thought I saw a chart where they compared the iCloud, Google's Cloud, and the SkyDrive for the different tiers, and it looked like initially you get the most with SkyDrive. They all start to come together as far as what you can buy. And I think that all are somewhere around the 100 gigabyte area, but Android or Google's service was the most expensive of the three.
All right, I got it up. I got it up right here.
Don't.
Okay, I got it up on the phone here. For 10 gigs, it's $20 a year.
Okay.
Which is it totals out to 15 gigs.
Because you get your 5 free.
You get your 5 free.
Right.
For 20, it's $40 a year, which totals out to 25. And then the most that they have is 50 gigs. It's $100 a year, which equals to $55. So it's a little pricey. You can.
But that's per year. I don't consider that too hateful for the kind of storage.
But you do get 5 free. And
right.
Yeah, and Sandy just sent me a text saying that the iPhone is faster than the Windows Phone. So she's jumping on the debate.
It's not. It's 50,000 competitions smoked by Windows Phone, and it's only lost 300 some odd times out of 50,000. So, all I can say.
Well, I do remember reading something that you guys were at church and that somebody's like ancient iPhone burned your Windows Phone in downloading something, and
not even close.
Yeah, you said something about that. There was aluminum in the walls, and
no, you're on drugs.
No, I saw it. I'm gonna find it. I'll bring it. I'm gonna bring that up.
You're on drugs. I thought I saw a chart. Oh, here we go. Here's the comparison. Okay, this is a little bit old because now Microsoft has the 5 or the 7 gig one.
For those at home, the reason it's old is because he's using a Windows machine, and they haven't updated the software yet.
No, there's an old website. This is Read Write Cloud. I thought there was another website that did a better cloud storage comparison. Where is it? Oh, it's the Cloud Solutions. Oh, well, I'm not going to waste any more time looking for it. But there was a pretty good comparison for what your starting amount is and what the price structure is. And it looked like Android just... Well, I think they had the most that you could get at the high end, but all of their tiers were more expensive than Apple or Microsoft. So
it's a great feature. It's out there. If you want to use it, I mean, you can most certainly invest a little bit of money, back up all your data, and it's there for you to just reach out and grab it whenever you need it.
I've already been starting to move my music onto the cloud. So the only downside for relying on the cloud is, for me right now, where we live, data files is the big thing that I like, and pictures, that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. For anything that you want to stream, we just don't have the bandwidth consistently here to take advantage of that. You need to be able to pull, if you're going to stream music, or certainly if you're going to stream video, you need at least a LTE to really do it well consistently. And
it's unavailable here.
Yeah, it's coming, but we'll probably just have the one tower. And so
it's gonna bottleneck when everybody's trying to use it. So just in order to actually see these devices in full force, you have to go to San Antonio, Austin. You got to go to a big city where these
And it does work nicely. I went to
Yeah.
San Antonio last week, and man, I loved because the Nokia Lumia 900 is an LTE phone, and so as soon as I saw it switch to LTE, I was like, yes, man. That stuff moves fast.
So where did you eat when you went to San Antonio?
Where do you think?
You ate at
Come on.
Red Lobster.
You
There you
know
go.
it. You know it. Crab legs, screaming my name. Click, 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 click.
Yeah, 15
Boy.
episodes. My wife just kind of texted 15 minutes ago. Great job, guys. Thank you. 15th episode, yes.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Hard to believe. So anyway, so that's my rant on John C. Dvorak. I absolutely do not believe anything that you say at this point.
I had not heard of the guy, and until you
Really?
Yeah, no, I don't pay too much attention to those guys that just talk about all this,
Well, he's truly a tech head. I mean, he's always done.
So kind of when you brought him up, I actually started, I Googled him up and started reading some of the things that he talks about, and he's very opinionated based on some of the things that he likes and dislikes, and when he doesn't like it, you're gonna know it.
He said on one of the Twit podcasts, he said he admitted that a lot of software or games that he would review, he never actually ran. He judged it based on the packaging.
Oh my God!
I'm like, how ignorant is that?
I get.
Well, if they do really well with their packaging, then that tells me that they did something on the inside really well.
That's Sandy's stupid. Always on me. What are you doing in your office late at night? I go, well, I'm reading. And that's the time that I have. I'll get on my iPad.
Figure out all this stuff.
I get on my iPad and stuff, and I'll start reading and looking at videos to see what's going on, and I'm educating myself.
That's right.
So
that is the way to keep on top of this stuff.
So
it keeps the little convolutions growing in your head. Your brain keeps working.
And I was devastated to hear that Carl Shelby died.
Yeah, I'm like, what?
Did you hear that? Did you see that new Mustang that came out with 1,100 horsepower?
Yeah, but I also heard after this one, they're going with a totally different design.
Oh man!
No longer the retro. I'm like, mistake.
That's a big mistake.
Bad choice. Bad choice. Well, we're just about we are out of time here. Just want to hit. I was going to do some Castle Canyon footage, but we'll save that for next week. I do want to hit just a couple of dive tech kind of things. And so first up, I'd like to talk about new on the scene is the Scuba Pro Go BC. It's a very lightweight. I was just reading in the Scuba Diving magazine. Looks really interesting. I've only got the one image shot here, but the different angles look good. Weight integrated setup, which I won't dive with anything less than weight integrated. But this thing is really lightweight, really designed for those who like the Jacket BC as opposed to the back inflation. And it's got the metal D-rings, which I really like.
Yep, definitely. That's one of my
must-haves.
Must-haves, yeah.
Absolutely. It's good-looking, no frills kind of...
Are those clips in the front, or is that on the back part of the actual vest itself?
Are you talking about on the shoulder or here?
In the center.
That's just image. That's just decoration on the back plate.
On the cushion.
The cushion.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
But as you can see, it's got both the cummerbund clasp as well as the chest clasp. So you'll find some that don't have the chest clasp. I think that's kind of important to have. The pockets are deep, so you got plenty of room for carrying stuff if you need to. But it's very lightweight, so it's good for those traveling. We like the Scuba Pro stuff. I'm not a big fan of back plates, which seemed like they were doing a lot of those, but I really like the way this one looks, and this is one of the newest things on the block.
They came out just recently also. I was going through their website. They came out with a new series of tech equipment. If you're a tech diver, they have a new line of tech gear, and if you know anything about tech diving, the gear, you don't have a jacket like that. Everything is in pieces.
Right.
So you put everything together based on how you're going to dive.
Yep.
And it looks really uncomfortable, but if you're a tech diver, I mean,
it's a must.
It's a must. You're not looking for comfort. You're looking for survival.
Right.
So you need to get into these crevices. So the gear will break apart based on how you need to, set it up for yourself.
Right.
Very, very neat setup that they have. It's something new to Scuba Pro. They didn't offer very much equipment on the tech technical side of
Right,
it.
right.
So they just came out with a line for that. So that's pretty neat. So if you're a tech diver, please check it out.
Yeah. And as a matter of fact, that's becoming more and more popular. PADI has really started pushing their recreational tech diver certifications and training. So you learn alternate configurations of equipment, what you would use for cave diving types of situations, or just generally a tech rig. So, yeah, definitely something to check out if you're a diver. You want to expand your horizons. That's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
Now, one of the other tech items I wanted to talk about, this company I was never a long-time fan of. I always considered their stuff really cheap, IST. Usually you saw those as like the loss leader or throwaway types of get your mask or your fins or wetsuits. I mean, basically they made what, in my opinion, were really, really low-end gear. But this new regulator that they came out with, the R60, actually has impressed a lot of people. Haven't seen the prices on it yet because it's new, but it has some of the same kind of features that we like to look for in regulators.
Right.
It does come with, you can get it with the optional environmental kit, so it protects it.
Wow.
Yeah, which surprised me. I mean, you just don't see a lot of that unless you're going pretty high end. We both have the Legend, which has that environmental kit in it. So this thing, if you buy it with the optional kit, it can also handle the freezing water, and it's not going to lock up on you. It uses the balanced diaphragm for adjusting to the ambient pressure outside. And as you can see on the picture here, it has both the pre-dive lever on it, and it has the resistance dial on it, which are features that we really like. We both use on our regulators.
When I first started diving, I didn't have any of those features. Then again, I've said in the past, that the regulator that I first got wasn't a very low end regulator. It was kind of in the mid range. Right. But as I started diving more, started changing things, moving stuff here, there, kind of positioning things, I actually started going for a more, I wanted a regulator that I can, mess around with, and excuse the phrase, not mess around with, but adjust,
fine tune to my diving preferences.
Thank you. And because the diving that we started to do was a little more serious. It was deeper, and so went with a little higher end, and it was after like 3 years, I think, and so excuse me. But yeah, that's not bad. That's not bad. And actually, IST, right?
Yeah.
I think they're a subsidiary of Sherwood.
Really? Are you sure? I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
That might have been like, okay, we're playing with this one. Here we go. Toss that one out.
I believe because Amistade Scuba carries that gear.
Used to when they were
Scuba. When they were Amistade Scuba, they used to carry that gear, and she used to get it off the Sherwood.
I was going to say
Sherwood catalog.
Well, they typically carried the masks and the stuff and the accessory, the personal gear type stuff.
Right.
But like I said, for the longest time, I just really never. If I saw IST, BCs, or something like that, I was like, eh.
I didn't even know. The BCs, I'd seen them because they had them there, but I didn't know that they made, life support equipment.
Right. So, but good job, IST, coming up in the world. They're really making a name for themselves. So it's good to see more OEMs really coming up with some thoughtful, serious equipment that are getting attention and reviews. So if you're looking to break into your first set of gear, I definitely encourage you to check out the RS860. It's an awesome looking regulator. So again, as usual, we're a little bit over time, but that's okay. We will try to catch up on a few of the things that we didn't get to hit for this week. We'll catch up next week. So you have any other last words before we head out?
Yeah, next week we're going to have a guest speaker. It's John C. Dvorak. He's going to be sitting right here next to me, so he'll be able to to kind of answer any questions.
No,
you may
I
have
think I'm
regarding
gonna.
the
I'm
Windows
thinking
devices.
if he were to show up, I'd pull a saw on him. I'd get the little puppet.
Get the little puppet.
And just tie him up, and he'd have to figure out how to save himself. Golly. Well, that pretty much covers it for this week, and we thank you for joining us. By all means, visit us next week, and stop by our website, delriodiveclub.com, or our Facebook page, /Del Rio Dive Club. And until next week, this is Rob Wade.
I'm Robert Garza.
And we'll see you next week on another episode of Two Guys Who Dive.